Tassler with you at Huset Speedway. Let's be specific. I'm in the pit area where the Outlaw Sprint cars are for the World of Outlaws show here on this Wednesday night, July 2nd. And I'm inside of a trailer. Look at this guy, Steve Kinser. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, doing fine. Always fun to be back in this area racing.
Well, they made a big deal out of you in Sioux Falls the morning of the show on, well, all the radio stations where we have these stories published on the websites, doing trivia on the king, the man. Boy, you go back. First time the World of Outlaws raced here at Huset's 1983, and you were the man that took a win.
Yeah, we've had some wins here and ran good here, and we ran bad too. But always, there's a lot of great race fans around here, and always enjoy coming around in this area.
The beauty for me is being able to walk into the trailer and say, "Hey, Steve, I got to know you years ago, and you've been very kind to me and very kind to the race fans around here, and giving us what we're doing right now." Boy, your history here, you won as recent as 2011, so going back a few years ago, you took a win from deep in the field, and a lot of wins in between. This is your final run at a championship after all those titles. This will be the final season chasing a championship. How do you feel about that?
Well, we're not making too good a run at it right now, but we started off really strong, but we ran into a few problems, so it is going to be the final year that we do run 100% of the races. I don't know what I'm going to do after that this year. I'll make up a decision whether I might still race a little bit and hit and choose, but I've been doing this since 1978, 60 years old, so you can't do it forever, but I wish you could, but you just can't do it that forever.
You've set the bar for sprint car racing worldwide. There's no one that's been at a racetrack and hasn't at least heard of Steve Kinser, so you're a legendary man with this sport. Pioneer of the sport, like you said, 1978. I remember back then, Steve, when, correct me if I'm wrong, but back then you'd go to the race to either see Steve Kinser, Sammy Swindell, or Doug Wolfgang win a race. That's about what it was at one point, anyway.
Well, there for a while, us three pretty well took care of it for quite a few years there.
What do you think about when you think back to those days, being rivals with, well, just say those two?
Well, it was always there was a sort of, you had to outrun in one of those two cars to back then to win a race, and between the three of us, we won a lot of races and had a lot of good close races too.
How many championships in all for your career? 20?
I've won 20 World of Outlaw championships, yes.
Congratulations. That's unprecedented for sure. It'll be a long time, probably not even in any of our lifetimes will we see that duplicated. Steve, you've raced with the best of them. Some of these guys that have been coming up through the ranks over the years, some of the young guys today. How do you feel about those guys? I think maybe they learn from you.
Well, there's a lot of good race teams out there. I mean, it's not all driver here. You got to have, especially in today's world, you got to have your car prepared, and it takes a good team all the way down. But and there's a lot of good teams out here. And as we get into more of a little bit of a spec racing with spec tires and weight rules and things like that, it definitely closes everything down pretty close.
Way bigger business than it was in 1978 for you, and even before that. Just this truck we're in, for example, did you ever fathom we'd be racing like this today?
No, I never did figure. I remember we ran all our first years in open trailers, and lucky if we had a spare motor and maybe a spare front end, a front axle or something, a spare rear end, but it's come a long way. Now you got two spare cars up front, and all the spare parts, enclosed trailer, lounge, satellite TV, and everything on them. So that part of it has definitely changed a lot.
Thing I've admired, Steve, your family. Man, I'll tell you what, there's more to this than just Steve Kinser. You got your brother building engines, running the shop, your wife, your son, everybody, the whole family.
Yeah, the whole family's involved, other than my youngest boy. He sort of never got involved in it, but I mean, he still grew up around it. And then I watched my dad race for a lot of years, so I grew up around it also. So, I got to think sprint car racing has been awful good to me.
Well, it has, and you've been good to the sport. You've been good for the sport. You can be on one side of the United States, and over on the other coast, they may be talking about you or wondering what you're doing. When your home is Indiana, when you're not racing, I know you do some different things, some hobbies and stuff. One time I called your shop years ago, and you were out hunting mushrooms.
Well, that happens a little bit in the springtime of year. I haven't did that for a while either.
Oh, yeah.
We, you know, we haven't got to spend a whole lot of time. We haven't spent any summers at home. We do get there in the spring and the fall a little bit, but as we get into June, July, and August, we're pretty well gone.
What is a vacation for you? Have you ever had one where you just take time away from it? What do you do? Where do you go?
Oh, I don't know this. Usually, I mean, I do take some vacations to Australia, but I still race and stuff, which is sort of a working vacation. So it's most of everything it does sort of is around racing, even if it is a vacation.
All right. Well, I'm sure you're proud of what you've done with racing. It's been a lot of hard work. It hasn't been easy, but you've been the guy to get it done, and you got to be proud of that.
Well, I am, and I'm just proud of haven't raced for a whole lot of race teams. I have Carl and Scott with me my whole career, so those two guys have meant a lot to me.
Any message before we wrap up, Steve? I'm going to let you do it how you want here. Any message you would like to lay out right here to the fans that you've had over the years?
No, I just want to thank the fans. I mean, that's what I race for, and I enjoy the race fans. And none of us doing what we're doing if we didn't have the fans out there.
Fans all across country. How about right here in Sioux Falls? You've enjoyed that, the people here?
I have enjoyed it a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of great race fans here, a lot of great sprint car fans.
All right. Steve Kinser, thank you for your time. You're getting ready for a race. You've been very kind. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. That's Steve Kinser with us here on July 2nd, 2014 at Houston Speedway. Mark Tassler with Racing for You with the King.